Ok, folkens, så Battlefield 6 multiplayer har akkurat blitt revealet. Jeg tenkte vi skulle ta og se traileren på det. I tillegg så har jeg funnet en video som jeg tenkte skulle reacte litt til, som jeg også mener er ganske nyttig, både for min egen del, men også for dere andre som vurderer å teste ut Battlefield 6. Så la oss ta og kjøre i gang traileren først, og så kommer vi tilbake igjen til videoen. Ok, dette er altså den offisielle multiplayer gameplay-traileren som nylig ble sluppet, så la oss ta og sjekke den ut. Det ser veldig bra ut. Så langt. Det virker som destruction i spillet blir tatt veldig, veldig høyt opp i forhold til hva det tidligere var. I hvert fall i forhold til 2042. Det ser veldig bra ut. Det ser ekstremt bra ut. Det er ikke så god variasjon i maps, i hvert fall ut fra hva de har vist i Thailand så langt. Helikopter er så gøy. Elsker før i tiden når jeg spilte Battlefield. De helikopter der. Battlefield 6, there we go. Og her har vi til og med pre-order bonus for de som vil pre-order med en gang. Ok, videoen jeg tenkte vi skulle ta oss og sjekke ut er fra en creator som heter Benny Central. Han var en av de som fikk reise ned til Battlefield 6-eventet. De inviterte masse creators ned dit fra rundt omkring i verden, og de fikk en god del timer der de fikk teste spillet, og så da selvfølgelig lage video om det. Men han har laget en video, 33 Battlefield 6 gameplay details that everyone needs to know. Jeg sjekker den litt grann ut, og den virker veldig interessant. Jeg har sett mye annet også, men den her virker veldig sånn faktabasert ut fra ting som han opplevde i spillet, og rett og slett hvordan ting fungerte. Så vi tar oss og sjekker ut den, og ser om vi lærer noe nytt.
Battlefield 6 has been revealed, and I got an exclusive opportunity to play, test, and learn about what is quite possibly the best first-person shooter experience that you can have in 2025.
Det er faktisk ganske store ord fra han her, som opprinnelig er en Call of Duty-player-spiller. Det er store ord. Interessant.
Especially if you're a Call of Duty player.
Okay.
Battlefield 6 brings back its class system that we all know.
Jeg er egentlig en Call of Duty-spiller, men vi snakker ikke om det nå.
And love, including assault, engineer, support, and recon that each fulfill different roles for your squad on the battlefield.
Okay.
But in Battlefield 6, it's a little bit different. There's a new feature called Field Spec, which is like a class specialization which will give you perks that you'll earn throughout the match, including an ultimate class ability that you'll be able to activate at a specific time. For example, for Assault, the one we had available to us was called Frontliner, which for selecting gives you better ADS mobility as you don't get a movement speed penalty. Then at level 1, you get an extra adrenaline injector, which is like a stim from Call of Duty. And level 2, you get quick recovery, so you heal faster, which then allows you to unlock your class ability, which when you activate, highlights enemy sounds and reveals nearby enemies, which is great to help you clear out a point or objective.
Det basically en wallhack?
Launch will have different field specs available, giving us a lot more variety and opportunity for more to get released in future updates. Weapons are of course a huge part of Battlefield, with 7 primary weapon types available: assault rifles, carbines that include weapons like the M4A1, SMGs, LMGs, DMRs, snipers, and of course shotguns, which were quite overpowered in the build we played. Now, you will have access to all weapons at any time, no matter what class you play, but there is a new feature called signature weapons, which will give certain weapons.
Ok, så da ikke jeg trodde siden klassesystemet var tilbake igjen, at noen våpen ville være låst på den klassen, at si at du var support, så hadde du da tilgang til alle sniperne, men hvis du spilte noe annet, så hadde du kanskje bare noen snipere. Men ok, nice, da kan du bruke alle våpen. Det ikke det som på en måte skiller klassen.
Weapon types, additional perks depending on your class.
Ja, det går på perks.
For example, for the assault class, assault rifles are the signature weapon, and you'll get faster draw and switch times, as well as better sprint recovery.
Okay.
You also get a signature trait, with assault having soft landing, which gives you reduced fall damage and no movement speed penalty after falling. And finally, each class also gets a signature gadget, with Assault getting that adrenaline injector that we mentioned earlier to help keep them alive in combat. Now, something you should get super excited for is the brand new loadout system, as there is so many different ways to build your guns. Each gun is given 100 points for you to spend on attachments. Better attachments are more expensive, so you have to make decisions on what's more important to you and what suits your playstyle, from different barrels to reduce recoil or increase bullet velocity to ammo types. We've not seen this level of customization before in a Battlefield game, and it's going to give so much depth to the game's weapons. But what use is a great loadout system if it's not paired with great gunplay? And honestly, they've nailed it. The weapons feel and sound great. There's tons of different optic choices, guns.
Det veldig bra at sånn som han sier det, som hovedsakelig en Call of Duty-spiller. For meg personlig det noe jeg alltid har likt med COD, så det på en måte gunplay. Selv om de har mye annen bullshit, så det ofte gunplay i COD som på en måte har gjort at jeg har kommet tilbake til spillet, og som har gitt meg en feeling som jeg ikke har fått i andre spill. Så det at han sier at det føles bra ut her, det lover veldig, veldig bra.
That are harder to control, but pack an absolute punch. So there's a good learning curve where you can master your gun of choice. Also, there's great visual clarity when firing. I found it can be quite frustrating in other games where you can't see what you're shooting at and feel like you have to rely on aim assist to correct your shots for you. And that was not happening with this Battlefield. Now, movement, as someone that has played a lot of Call of Duty, has always been something I've not loved when it comes to Battlefield. But Battlefield 6 feels fairly similar to MW 2019, which, in my opinion, is a great thing. There's a bunch of great movement tech, such as being able to slide into cover or round corners to get a jump on your opponent. You can even sprint whilst crouched to keep in cover. If you go to transition from prone to standing though, there are moments where you have to push yourself off the ground, which meant I found drop-shotting not
crouch
as effective
to sprint.
as I was expecting, but I did really enjoy the game's movement, and I think you will too. Now, we got to play on 3 different maps during our hands-on session. Liberation Peak, which is this huge open biome that had us flying in choppers, ducking behind massive rocks in this mountain range, which looked great. And that's something to really hammer home. Every map I played looked and sounded incredible. The team have done an amazing job with the world, and we haven't even got into destruction yet. We also then played in the Siege of Cairo, which is more of a desert biome, and then on the streets of New York on Empire State, where I did manage to get a 20 kill streak, which I was pretty happy with. Now, with our hands on, we got to play 4 different modes. Conquest, which is the bread and butter of a Battlefield experience, which was great and included all types of vehicles. Breakthrough, which with the level of talent playing was very difficult to get through, even the first point. Then we played Squad Deathmatch, which I personally really liked, as it was 4 squads of 4 facing off on small maps in a race to 50 kills.
Det er jo det som er litt fint her. Altså, her har man på en måte begge deler. Hvis man er mer glad i large scale combat med masse players på hver side, så kan man det, men man kan også spille den måten som man snakker om nå, der det er mye færre folk. Hvis man liker mer den typiske Call of Duty-feelingen med mindre maps og så videre. Så man har på en måte begge deler, så det er veldig bra.
Infantry only,
Eller man kan splitte det
gave
opp.
a gameplay experience I hadn't really had before in a Battlefield game. It felt more like Call of Duty, which is funny as the last mode that we played was Domination, which was infantry only, and I really loved playing it, but that's also probably due to my COD roots. We also got a first look in our briefing at Portal, which is a game changer for Battlefield. This will allow players to make new modes, new map experiences, and do really whatever they want with the Battlefield engine. Similar to what we see from games like Fortnite, which gives a huge opportunity to create new experiences and mini games that you just don't want to stop playing. Now, we can't not talk about vehicles with Battlefield, and wow, whether it's the sound of a jet flying overhead or a tank crashing through a building, Battlefield 6 has nailed the vehicles. Even driving one of the cars through Liberation Peak in first person looked ridiculously good. At one point, I was even the gunner of a chopper taking down another one out of the sky, and it felt a bit like a movie. But the real game changer for me is destruction. The studio has spent a long time perfecting destruction with Battlefield 6, and it makes every game feel like a movie. Whether it's a building getting destroyed around you, or a tank flying through some rubble, or even you firing an RPG at a wall to make a new opening in a fight. I genuinely don't think it's something I'll get bored of,
Battlefield.
It's amazing in Battlefield 6. Another thing to pay attention to in Battlefield 6 gameplay is the minimap in the bottom left corner. It gives so much helpful information, from building verticality to enemy red dots, showing if they're on your floor or above or below you, helping you make far better gameplay decisions. So I do wish I was able to move it into that top left corner. Battlefield 6 also has a ton of different gadgets for you to choose from and use, including a respawn beacon for recon, which changed so many games for us, as it would allow us to get behind enemy lines so much easier, or putting down deployable cover as a support. But if you want to do well in Battlefield 6, you really have to take advantage of the signature gadgets especially. Now, I talked about this briefly earlier, but the game's visibility is fantastic. Even dark corners, players are still well outlined. There wasn't a point where I felt like I was struggling to see anything on the map, and that's a testament to how well this game has been designed. Also, a really cool feature that I love is the damage counter. It's just left of the crosshair when firing, and you can see how much damage you're doing, so you can tell how much health an enemy has left and whether you're hitting the chest, limb, or headshots, which is great. Really cool little thing added. Battlefield 6 also has some of the best revive mechanics I've ever seen. You can grab your squad mate and drag them back behind cover to finish off the res, or if you're a support, you can obviously just use your defibrillators for an instant res. Now, in the build we played, we obviously had a limited selection of attachments and weapons to choose from, but I was really impressed with all the scopes and optics that I got to use, but I did fall in love with the OSA optic, which was super clean and was very much like the Volskev from Warzone. So just a heads up, use that one. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time sniping because it was incredibly difficult, with you needing to hit headshots for those one-shot kills the majority of the time. But at around 70 to 80 meters, there was this kind of sweet spot where you could get a one-shot kill with a shot to the chest, which I wasn't the biggest fan of because it made snipers feel really inconsistent when using them, and I just found a lot more success using LMGs and assault rifles instead. As the assault class, you also gained access to the adrenaline shot, which was incredibly helpful. Not only would it give your health back quickly, but it would also enhance enemy footsteps nearby, which meant when fighting in close quarters, you could pre-fire opponents and build some big kill streaks. So once again, use your signature gadgets. One thing that is also so important with Battlefield 6 for my hands-on is make sure you play with a squad. The spawn system allows you to get back into the fight pretty quickly, as you can spawn on any of your squad mates when they're not in combat. But you can turn a match around with something as simple as a respawn beacon behind enemy lines. I found spawning on an objective a last resort, so make sure to spawn on your squad. One of the biggest complaints from anyone in most first-person shooters that I play is always about footstep audio. And Battlefield 6, in my experience, has really nailed their audio, especially on the smaller maps. Sometimes on Conquest, on the larger map, there was so much going on, the audio could be a little bit overwhelming, with vehicles, jets, and explosions going off all the time. But in Squad Deathmatch, the footstep audio was crystal clear, and that was one of the reasons I was able to go on such big gun streaks. Now, one of the biggest things that I learned from my hands-on with Battlefield 6 is always look for the flank routes. If you want to be successful in the game,
alle som har spilt Warzone så vet dere hvor ille det der.
You and your squad getting taken out. But if you can get behind the opponents, you can get some beautiful clips and moments, even if you need to blow a hole in a wall to pull off the flank. Go for the flanks. Though one thing I definitely hope they change with Battlefield 6 is the shotgun balancing. As the assault class, you could gain access to this shotgun, which if you put slug rounds on, would just allow you to insta-kill anyone you see with almost no chance of reply. But that once again tells you the importance of that new loadout system. There are going to be so many powerful weapon builds available, and I can't wait to see what you build. Another cool feature is you can now crouch behind cover, and when you ADS, your character will then peek over, giving you a strong firing position, especially helpful when holding an objective. Parachutes are also in the game, allowing you to cover big open areas pretty quickly. I didn't get to use it that much, but it could be very helpful for future modes. Maybe. There were also no kill cams in Battlefield 6, but you would get details on how they killed you and a highlighted outline on their position, so you can go back for revenge. You can also move around the map faster by pulling out your knife, which is a small detail, but key to help you min-max your movement around the map. Now,
jeg føler kanskje ikke at killcam nødvendig. I hvert fall ikke den moden der. Jeg litt usikker. Av og til så kan det bare selvfølgelig være... Nei, jeg vet ikke. Jeg faktisk litt sånn. Det ikke sikkert det blir noe savn, med mindre jeg tenkt å legge det inn senere.
Something I took advantage of a lot in my play session was the support deployable cover. It helps so much in controlling lanes or objectives on the map, and it really hammered home how important using the signature gadgets are if you want to succeed in Battlefield 6. Now, I also think it's important to talk about my experience playing Battlefield 6 with a controller, and it was really good once I'd got the settings right. And that's a big point. It took a long time getting the settings right. We had a whole setup day to play around. Now, the settings are a lot more complicated than other games, with so many different settings hidden within different sub-menus, and is probably one of the biggest things that Battlefield needs to work on and change is their settings and menus are too complicated for the majority of players. It's great to have so much customization, but there needs to be a simpler way if required. And how the game plays and feels with and without the best settings is night and day. I also want to talk a little bit about aim assist, as it's always one of the most discussed topics, and something to highlight right away is there isn't rotational aim assist as such. It's more of a snap, so left to right aim acceleration is more important for you to be able to hit your targets easily. But overall, it didn't feel broken and was well balanced with mouse and keyboard players. But if this video hasn't told you everything you need to know, you're going to be able to play it for free and get your hands on Battlefield 6 for yourself with the open beta coming across the next 2 weekends, 9th and 10th of August, and the 16th and 17th. And there will also be an even earlier opportunity if you tune into my stream or play Battlefield Labs. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Alright, det var videoen. Mye nyttig innenfor det, synes jeg. Det ser jo ekstremt bra ut. Jeg ser veldig frem til å kunne teste det ut selv. Nå må vi selvfølgelig huske at det de spilte der var også en hva skal man si, early build, tidlig build. Så de vil nok bruke tiden godt nå når beta kommer ut, og finpusse, og balansere våpen, kjøretøy, alle de tingene der. Så det er enda mer polished når vi kommer til release, som er 10. oktober. Jeg vil også nevne at under eventet så ble det også teaser Battle Royale, og i tillegg til Story Mode som også kommer til spillet. Battle Royalen tviler jeg egentlig på å komme til release. Det kommer helt sikkert noen måneder etterpå, men vi får sikkert vite mer om det etter hvert. Uansett, tusen takk for at du så på videoen. Gjerne trykk en tommel opp på videoen. Gjerne abonner hvis du er ny. Ha det bra.